Hi folks, Jeremy Klein with you from Outdoors NB. I really quickly would just want to go over how to secure a canoe or a kayak to a vehicle. I have seen personally a lot of this done perhaps in error. When you're going down the highway and you have one strap over two boats, one upright and then one on top of it upside down, that's not the right way to secure your kayak to your roof. So to start with, highly recommend that you get the proper rack system for. So we're looking at our company's Silverado right now. So I have, this is one setup that you can purchase for a family vehicle or a truck for the roof. We sell Yakima. There's all kinds of different brands out there. Yakima being, in our opinion, one of the best, and that's the reason that we sell it. Clips onto your roof through the door frame and secures across the top of the roof. And then of course I've got this system on top of that, but obviously you could put kayak J-bars or cradles on top of that, or the Yakima Showdown or the Thule elevator. Important thing though, when you're securing your kayak, depending on how far apart the crossbars are, is really going to determine, and this is my humble opinion, this is not what the manufacturer recommends, but the further apart the crossbars are, the less likely the kayak on the roof is going to twist with wind. Okay, so if I have, this is a 12.5 foot kayak, if I have these uprights 4 feet apart, then the likelihood of there being a torque moment or a torque force from wind pushing sideways on the kayak is lessened because I'm supporting it further apart, which is going to take up a lot of that torque. Now if it's on the top of your car roof like this system is on top of ours, they're going to be closer together, so the likelihood of the kayak twisting on the roof is a lot higher. And in that case, we would want to tie from the handle on the front of the boat, if the kayak was on the front of the boat, to a point on the front of your vehicle and to a point on the back of your vehicle. So when that twists, it's only going to allow it to twist so far. And if the vehicle rack fails, the bow and stern line are more likely to keep the kayak at least with your vehicle instead of potentially in somebody's windshield behind you. So I'm taking a risk by not tying down, but as you can see, I've got a Discovery canoe in here and another Sorrento in the bed, so it's hard for me to tie down to the bottom. But you can also tie from the handle across in the back and likewise in the front, from the handle in the front across, and that's going to limit how much twist that can do on the roof. Second thing you want to do, and this is probably the most important part, is make sure you're securing the boat itself to each crossbar. And how I do that is I go over the boat under the rack on one side, I come back over and I'll go under the rack on this side as well, leaving my cam buckle down so that I can come up through it and then use my own weight just to pull down and tighten. We want to shy away from ratchet straps. We'll go with cam buckles. Ratchet straps, very easy to damage both a canoe or a kayak. So everything that we do, both on the vehicle and on our big 33-foot trailer that we take 40 boats on, I always use these cam straps. And RS makes good stuff. The stuff that comes with Thule and Yakima, they're great too. They make great straps, and I like some of the options that the Yakimas have for the free end stowage. And we do sell the Yakima stuff here. If you're interested, give us a shout. Now, so I always wanted to go under. This is the strongest part of my whole system, so I want to utilize that in securing my boat. On the Yakima HD bars, there is a securing a little pin here at the end, so I can go through that with my straps, which I'm in the process of doing as I make this video. But as you can see here, this is the Yakima HD. So I go through that, and that's what it's designed for. It's also designed for a hook to go in here too. They make a special strap for this. But as you can see, I am utilizing the strength of this bar by going under it, and that's going to allow the force that I create to pull down on the boat and keep it in place. I'll also do a double wrap over here, so it's not just under, but it's wrapped around a full turn so that it doesn't allow the strap to slide sideways, which in turn will allow my boat to twist. Everything we're trying to do is to keep the boat on the car and from twisting or moving forward and back. So I always want to make sure that my boat is relatively centered on that. And on the Old Towns, center of gravity is really close to where they put the Old Town logo. It's a really cool thing to note. The Sorrento has a lot more weight aft of the center of the boat. So that center of gravity isn't actually in the middle, it's a little bit back. So I try and center it as much as possible, and I want to take advantage of the shape of the boat. I want to strap in the narrower areas, because if I strap where it is the widest, it's going to allow it to slip on those straps, or if you're only using one strap, it's definitely going to allow it to slip. If I hit the brakes really hard, this is going to get constricted because it widens as the boat tries to come forward. The boat shape widens, which is going to constrict my already tight strap and not allow it to slide any further forward. Likewise, if I was to accelerate really fast, I want this to be past the widest part, so that as my truck accelerates and everything on it wants to stay still, it's going to try and go backwards. So it'll constrict my already tight strap in this location as it tries to go backwards. So it's going to keep it in place from going forward as I decelerate, and keep it from going backwards as I accelerate. So always want to make sure my back strap is behind the widest part of the boat here. This is usually around the cockpit area. So I'm going to have that same thing. I'm going to go over with my strap. I'm going to go under and around this crossbar. And then my cam buckle is going to come back and be hanging here so that I can go up through it from underneath and then just pull down with my own weight. And I don't want to over tighten, because on a really hot day, these boats can easily warp. They're made of plastic. So we don't want to over tighten, but it wants to be nice and snug. So as you can see here, it's snug, but it's not super stringing tight, because that's going to pull down and it can warp any one of these polymer. I don't care what manufacturer it is. It can damage the boat regardless of who makes it or how thick it is. Heat will soften linear polyethylene. So anyway, you always want to, if you can, always try and tie front and back from the handle down to a tow hook or a receiver hitch in the front. A lot of vehicles now are equipped with a little pop out. It's either a square or a circle about yay big, or a square about yay big. They pop out of the bumper, and in your tire change kit is a metal eyelet that screws in. That is to recover your vehicle if you go off the road, and that is how a tow truck is supposed to recover your vehicle. They're rated for the weight of your vehicle, so they'll definitely take the weight of a kayak in a dynamic load situation. So you always want to make sure you screw that in. That's the best way to tie down the front of your kayak if your vehicle is equipped. If it isn't, there is another option, which I'm hesitant. I mean, we have brought some in now because some vehicles just have no other option. There is a rubber tube that goes in under the hood, and the strap comes up through the hood. So your hood is going to take all of that load, and it's probably in an accident situation, which it won't matter at that point because your vehicle is probably damaged, but it probably will buckle your hood because it's putting all the strain up here. But it's an option. We do sell it now, NRS straps for that. You can also get straps that you'll open your hood and you can take out a screw out of the engine compartment right under the hood here and secure that strap in there, and it comes out through the gap in the hood itself up here. Chances of possibly rubbing paint off in the area where it comes up through, because it's going to be flapping in the wind and it can rub paint off, are possible. But it's better than putting that boat through potentially someone's roof. If you are securing a long canoe or kayak in the back of your vehicle, you want to make sure you support more than half of the weight of the boat. So if I'm taking a 16'9" canoe, this would not be acceptable, because this is going to be balancing on my tailgate as I accelerate and decelerate. So what you have to do is get a bed extender like this. We do sell the Yakima ones. I just don't have one for myself because I sold our last one. But a Yakima bed extender. So that's going to, this is not a Yakima obviously, but it's what I had for now. It's going to extend where that boat is supported well past the halfway point. So now all of the weight is being supported by the truck instead of being balanced out here. So now I go, again, I make sure I go underneath each portion of my crossbar, and then I'm securing it. My cam buckle's right here so I can pull down. and I'm securing it in the truck as well. I also have a load bar at the end. That's just to keep the bow down if there's any force downward out here at the end. And same thing with this kayak. When possible, these things are best transported on their side. Like if you have a J-bar up here, plastic boats are, like I said, susceptible to, you know, warping and damage, and really, especially, these are not supposed to be left wrapped. We keep them in the shade, and it's for a short-term period, but this acts as a greenhouse, so they heat up a lot. So where possible, J hooks are the best for boats that aren't too overly wide. Sit on tops are not gonna take a J bar, because the J bar is not high enough to support the width of the boat. These guys are narrow enough we can put a J bar up here and support them that way. So if you're looking at a saddle or a cradle for your car for long term, I'd go with a J bar if you have a recreational kayak, because that's going to support it where it's strongest through the width this way. If you had it up like this, it's kind of like if you had a 2x6. If you supported it simply in 2 points on a plane like this, it's going to be very susceptible to warping. If I support it so that the webbing is up vertically, it's going to be less susceptible to warping because it's strongest through this axis here. So likewise with the kayak, if I support it essentially on its sides, if this was upright on its sides like this, it's strongest through its sides on a vertical plane, and there's no force on the bottom of the hull or the top of the deck, so it's not going to warp or oil can or what have you. So best way, J bars. The other issue that people have is loading their kayak up on their roof. Depending on the vehicle you have, we sell the Yakima Showdown, which is a load assist system. So I'm gonna see if I can't set my camera up so that you can watch this. I'll set it over here. So it's just 2 pins that keep it locked in place. Okay, so I've unlocked the pins. Now I can pull the load assist system out and down to where it can be easily managed. Now, my racks are far further apart than a traditional car would be, and I do that to limit the torque on the kayak. But there are handles down here. If this was on your SUV or your sedan, you would grab these handles to pull out. Like I pulled out individually each handle, and then I grabbed the bottom of the boat and pushed it. If this was on your vehicle, they would be close enough together that you could manipulate both at the same time and pull everything out in one. But that brings the boat down high enough that I can set it on to my truck very easily. I don't have to lift up. I can keep it at waist level. Then I strap it in place, supported by this as I strap. And then I just push it back up on the truck, and I'll show you it going back up. But this also has securing pins. That's where I put my strap through on both sides. That is the strongest part of this system. I cannot go under my crossbar, because this system sets on top of it. So it would definitely be a complicated way of doing it if I went under my crossbar. So that's set up to go through the pins. So I'll show you going back up. Pins and we're done. Super easy, super simple. So I ask, always, make sure you secure your boats with 2 straps, one on each crossbar, and then a bow and a stern line to the front of your car for the bow and the back of the car for your stern. So I'm going to put this last strap on the Sorrento, and we're going to go make some deliveries to Fredericton today. So if you have any questions, if you need any of this gear, give us a shout. outdoorsnb.com. All of our contact info is there, and we carry all of the stuff that I've just shown you. and we can come. If you have questions, you have to ask. We can't assume that you have questions if you're loading stuff. We like to allow folks to load their own stuff on their vehicle, but if there are questions, we will definitely answer them. So come see us if you have any questions. And if you're watching this video and realize you've been doing it maybe not the most effective way, no problem at all, but I hate seeing vehicles going down the highway precariously loaded with kayaks that look like they're about to come off. And we have seen kayaks on the highway off of the vehicle as well lately. So that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. I encourage you to like and share it across social media. It's important. We don't want other kayakers to give, we don't want the community to get a bad name, right? So we want to make sure that we get that information. A lot of times people just don't have the information, so we're trying to help out by giving some. Thank you, and again, contact us with any questions at all. See you later. Bye.